I may be a detective, but my wife is a bigger detective.
Yeah, that I attest
So
to.
I'm always playing, they say, chor police khelte. I'm always the chor, she's the police.
I actually feel like I could have been a detective in life.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm an overthinker. What, when, how, why, who, always.
Yeah.
I think the perks of working with such a large and well-accomplished cast is that you get to learn a lot from observing, like you said, on set, which happened in this case because there were so many of us, and when you're surrounded by actors of that caliber.
A director will tell you what the scene is about. A director should hardly ever tell you how to act. The vanity is bothering you, then even the amount of sugar that will come in the tea will bother you.
Yeah.
Everything starts bothering you.
I think Diljit is someone who I've always looked up to, and he's been there from the beginning of my career, and he's been a constant and such a supporter, and I am too, like, his biggest supporter and fan, and seeing him thrive and be global around the world is just something that makes me so proud, especially as a Punjabi to see. So
Such a humble man, very, very sweet, very grounded, didn't have any air about, the amount of success he's had. That's what you expect, and it's very pleasing to see that it's true.
He's a true rock star.
I think next time for promotion, I don't think I should turn up.
Why?
People say nice things about me also.
If I had to ask, for me, I feel for an actor, his most special work is always his first film, at least for me. I feel that for my daughter also, if they ask me my daughter's best film, I always say her first film. Even though she's grown after that, I as an actor have grown after my first film, but that first film always remains in your heart.
If you go on a set where you feel, I didn't like the guy, I didn't like his attitude, I love the role, I'll make the roles I love. Don't worry about it. But I love the role, but this guy is a
jerk.
Yeah. I don't want to spend time with you. There's nothing I can learn from you. We'll make other movies that we can have good roles with good people. I want to spend time with good people.
I've seen Shah Rukh literally the first week when he arrived in Mumbai, and I've seen where he's reached now. I think the whole world has seen his journey, and as a person too, he's not changed at all. The achievements, but he's got a great heart, and he's someone I'm very proud that I've known since the day he really came to Bombay. So yeah, I would call him a
Lovely.
Hello everyone, this is Hesha Chimah and you all are tuned on Varinder Chawla's page. Joining me here for a conversation today is safe to say the partial cast of Detective Sherdill, but I'm very happy to be talking to all of you all. Thank you so much for your time. And before anything, let me just break it. Perks of my job, मैंने movie already देख ली है.
Oh boy.
Oh, not
Yeah.
fair.
This
हमने
is
नहीं
too
देखी.
much.
Murderer कौन है?
वो बता दिया तो मुझे यहाँ से Z5 बाहर भेज देगा और बोलेगा प्रीमियर हो रही है 20 जून को हेशा को यहाँ से भगा देते हैं. But I had a great time. It was fun watching all of you all, and it's great to see that everybody is playing a different किरदार, and it's nice. मैं ज़्यादा disclaimer दे रही हूँ, सबको दे रही हूँ कि जो भी देख रहा है इंटरव्यू बाद में देखना. But today's conversation, I want to start off by each one of you all asking you all one common question. ये मेरा observation है. हम सबके अंदर एक छोटा मोटा सा detective है. We are slightly detectives ourselves, and please agree with me because let me share my example. I'm a detective when it comes to my sister, when it comes to my partner, and when it comes to my parents. I'm constantly like a helicopter person. I really want to know what they're up to. Common question. Are all detectives as well?
Yeah.
And if yes, with who?
I'm a detective with Swiggy.
Swiggy?
I want to know
Where is my
food-
parcel?
Can I from the window, I take a binocular check. ये scooter नहीं यार, ये वो वाला नहीं. But I keep close track of how long the food takes.
Okay, okay.
You like the joke that much, huh?
This is a nice
I'm
answer.
regretting sitting next to Boman so now because how do I follow his answers?
Nobody can match this up, right? But
No.
it's crazy. But have you ever been? You can give me an answer. Everybody can have a different
I've
one.
been Snoopy on social media for sure. We're all guilty of a Finster account. Do you know what Finster means?
Oh, fake or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So now I can't even ask you who you're stalking. Can I ask you that?
No,
at
I've
least?
given enough already. My publicist is gonna kill me.
Okay, cool. Sumit, what about you?
No, I would say I'm a pretty poor detective. On most occasions when when you're cracking a deal or when you're meeting someone and you feel you come back and you tell your manager, they seem like great people, we should totally work with them. Like, what, are you crazy or what?
You're talking about this production?
Cat's out of the bag.
Oh God. Okay. So you're leaving it on your manager.
But see, you can tell from his face.
Innocent hai.
सीधा है.
बहुत सीधा. He can't be the murderer for sure.
He's not probably.
So
You
with
can,
me,
na, but
no,
maybe.
not me, not at all. In fact, I may be a detective, but my wife is a bigger detective.
Yeah, that I attest.
So
to.
I'm always playing, they say, chor police khelte. I'm always the chor, she's the police.
Okay, are you detective towards anybody else? Let's say both your daughters, papas are detectives, no?
No. वाइफ करती है सब कुछ
Bhavin is doing
मैं उससे ही पूछ लेता हूँ रिपोर्टिंग करो भाई
Lazy boy.
Okay.
I actually feel like I could have been a detective in life.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm an overthinker. What, when, how, why, who, always in life.
Okay,
in
so that could have been
general.
your pseudo profession if you were not
I
an
could have been a
actor.
raw agent.
Wow.
Raw?
Oh my God.
Undercover
Okay.
and all.
But do you all agree with me since all
But you
of
were a raw agent in one movie.
But I was, not raw,
Yeah,
but
kinda.
kind of.
kind of an agent. Okay. क्या ये सही है? ये मेरा observation है. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think.
No, you're wrong.
he's a real detective
Yeah,
पहले से ही
it's
बोल
wrong.
दिया
But what I was going to say was that actors are also like detectives. Like there are certain commonalities that are there. But if I were to ask you all what is the commonality, then what would it be? Who'd like to
between
go
an
first?
actor and a detective
Yeah, between actor and a detective.
I would say for me an actor and a detective both are clueless
Really? Why?
we all director dependent I feel at least I as an actor I'm talking for myself
Okay.
I don't know Boman ji
So I didn't get the question.
I said
Oh,
detectives and actors
actors and detectives. There's
what is the
What is,
commonality
if
I
there is
said
a commonality, what could it be?
both
Because I have a few.
both need clues from the director
I mean, both need to crack the plot.
Yeah. Certain amount of research, I think, that goes
Yeah.
into developing your character and stuff, which is, I don't know if you can equate it to being a detective. but-
Quality of a detective. Like, what are the qualities
Yeah.
of a detective? I think detective is an observer. Actors
Psycho-
also have to be
Exactly.
observers.
Yeah.
Psychology.
Correct? You all have to be
Psychology,
observers.
yeah,
You all need to.
research, basically.
Correct. Yeah, that. In
Getting
that
under the
sense.
skin of the character is kind of like,
and detectives take money in advance actors also do
Also take money in advance.
But I like this point that the power of observation for an actor is important.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm not
absolutely.
cracking jokes. I'm being serious about it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But tell me something, like, I want to also understand this. If y'all are saying that inherent y'all have certain qualities in y'all as actors also, let's say that aap log ho sakte ho detectives, kidhar na kidhar, there are certain traits that you'll carry forward on a set also, right? On a set like this project or this film, what are some of the things that you'll take as, let's say, qualities from one another that you'll observe and pick, and some things that you'll just sort of go with the director, take on what he's asking you to do, and then do your perfect take? What's it like? What are the observations you'll make, and what do you'll feed off as actors from one another? Diana, do you want to take this first?
tough questions you're asking me first.
you understood the question
I lost her somewhere along the way.
Is it observations of
Yeah.
each other?
Yeah.
You know, acting
Yeah.
I think the
process?
perks of working with such a large and well-accomplished cast is that you get to learn a lot from observing, like you said, on set, which happened in this case because there were so many of us, and when you're surrounded by actors of that caliber, there's always scope to observe, to learn, to pick up on little nuances. And I think that really happened for me.
But do you have that one person? क्योंकि जब इतने सारे जन होते हैं, I fixate myself on one person. कि like, oh, this is that one person who I want to take a thing or two
Boman
from.
sir and Ratna ma'am.
Yeah.
we
I
were
really
sapping
like-
off Boman I was sapping off
But
him
just on a serious note, honestly, that a director will tell you what the scene is about. A director should hardly ever tell you how to act. That's a problem. But because why has he hired you? You're obviously good at what you do. So what are we feeding off of each other? If you throw me a line which is in a particular tone, I'll have to respond accordingly.
Exactly.
And if I'm not listening to you, I'll respond incorrectly, or I'll jump out of the scene, and it not nice. So it doesn't matter the seniority, it doesn't matter the experience. It matters the moment. If you feel in that moment you've got to slam the table and say something, then I have to respond accordingly. So what's happening in the truth of the moment is what I feed off whoever the actor, whether he's highly experienced or is a complete newcomer like me.
which one are you
Okay.
Coming
Newcomer.
back to
Newcomer.
observation, because Boman sir just said, like, you're feeding off each other. And when you're not in a particular scene and you're just observing, or even if you are in one, and you kind of, as an actor, I think most of us do that. You kind of imagine yourself in that scene or that spot, and how you would have done it, and how it's different from the way the person is doing it, right? So those are also learning points. Because they're like, oh, I didn't think of that, you know, that approach to take for a particular scene. But that's a wonderful approach. So
I would also want to know from everybody that आप लोग सबने यहाँ पे ensemble cast में काम किया है, multi-starrer films में काम किया है, right? And sometimes easier said than done, but it's very important to be secure as people as well. And only secure people make secure actors. Where do you all derive that sense of security from?
Lots of therapy.
that's a good one, actually. It's true.
I mean, I guess if you're a comfortable human being, you'd be secure. You know, there's no end to insecurity. Even if you have, so to say, the better job or the better payment or the better vanity or whatever it is that you think is better. If you're deeply and unhappy or an unfulfilled person, you'll still find reasons to feel insecure.
Right.
If you're secure, you'll have a good time wherever you go. You'll find.
That is so well put, actually. You'll. If the vanity is bothering you, then even the amount of sugar that will come in the tea will bother you. Everything starts bothering you. But if you're by and large, you've come to do a job at the end of the day. And the moment you come to a job and say, I'm going to be working with these people for 30, 35 days, I might as well have a good time.
Good time.
So if you're not having a good time and you're sitting and you feel you're not part of a team,
Bad news.
then that's A, bad news, and B, bad performance.
And at the end of the day, I think, like Boman sir said earlier, it comes down to being in that moment, right? So when you're actually on set and in a scene, it doesn't matter, it shouldn't matter who the other person is opposite you and who else is around you, because it's about how you're reacting in that moment, in that scene, to your surroundings.
But sometimes does it happen, let's say जब आपने narration सुन ली है या आपके पास script आई है, there's a visual narrative or an imagery that goes on in our own heads also, right? मैंने सोचा होगा कि मैं ये कर रही हूँ, but eventually it probably might not be that. Then how do you all be secure people?
Can I answer? That's got nothing to do with insecurity. It's got to do with being accomplished. So you thought that this is going to be a soft exchange between two people who are talking to, and the director comes and says, no, I want it very vitriolic. Okay, let's do one more rehearsal and do it that way. You've got to be working on your toes, right? So I don't think that's got anything to do with insecurity.
I think as well as an actor, you can't have an ego, because really it's about not only surrendering to a crazy direction your director may give and giving it your all, it's really surrendering to that moment. And if you have an ego about it, you're never fully going to be truthful.
Right.
And I think that can be a hindrance to actors anyway. And no one on that set was like that. Everyone was so truthful and in the moment. So there was no ego or insecurity.
I think we were having fun. That's a big,
in
very
this
big,
one we had a lot of
very
fun.
important to have fun.
We were just thinking about where are we going to eat next.
I swear.
Which
Woman and I
place are we
both
going to try?
Just
Swiggy, clearly he was tracking, so I was like, I'm seeing my Swiggy, my food order for everybody.
No, but I'll tell you.
कहाँ चले आज? That yesterday. Oh, you've not been. I'll take you.
And the funny part was when we were having lunch, we were planning what to have for dinner.
Wow.
How can you do that?
Okay, that's also a very Punjabi trait. I do that in my house all the time. कि अभी lunch खा लिया, अभी dinner में क्या खा रहे हैं, हम बीच में क्या खा रहे हैं. But also special compliments to the both of you, Benita and Diana. Great job on the sign language. Like I can't even do a basic I love you. I'll forget about it. Like what is it? It's amazing. It's kudos, commendable. Prep a little bit about it. How is it? Are you still in the groove of it, or have you forgotten it right after the film got thrown in?
Boman sir also had to do sign language,
Yes, of
by
course.
the way.
Yeah, because he's your father in the film. Yeah.
And everyone in the film had to do it. But we had the most amazing coach called Sitaramji, and genuinely without that man, I don't know how any of us would have
I completely
managed.
agree.
I trained with him day and night. He was the most pleasant, lovely, warm man to be around, and like I just felt so safe knowing I was under his guidance. So it was all Sitaramji. I feel.
Well, he used to shout at me a lot.
You?
I'm just joking. You should have done it in sign language.
Also, coming back with Diljit again, right? Jind Mahi was one of my favorite songs when it came, and that's when we knew that there's, oh my God, that's Benita and there's Diljit. What was that association like? And I'm sure this was shot a little while ago, right? And now it's coming out for the open. So what's the rapport then? What's the rapport now with Diljit?
I think Diljit is someone who I've always looked up to, and he's been there from the beginning of my career, and he's been a constant and such a supporter, and I am too, like, his biggest supporter and fan, and seeing him thrive and be global around the world is just something that makes me so proud, especially as a Punjabi, to see. So I think it's just a mutually, like, prideful. I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to work with him again, you know.
Yeah, of course,
yeah.
again. Can I ask you all, what's that one thing that you all observed about Diljit that stayed with you all even now? Since he's not here, we should always talk about him.
He goes to the gym twice a day.
Okay.
Because I would go once, and he'd be like, "Oh, I was here 4 hours
twice?
ago."
Twice?
Yeah,
I thought I had that record.
you were 3 times.
Okay, so Bouncer goes 3 times.
He went in the evening too. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Oh, you owe to the gym. I thought you were saying to the restaurant.
Even I go twice to the gym. Second time I go to get my clothes back.
Okay, so tell me, what's that one thing that you all observed about Diljit, since you all work so closely?
I'll start off because I had no scenes with him in the film. But
Really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had no scenes with him in the film.
He's dead, no?
I am not in the film. Yeah.
Why
But,
here?
the one thing I just thought, he's one of the most respectful young men I have ever met.
Yeah.
The most respectful young man. He has an old world sense of values, and I really respect that. You know, not that I expect anybody to be so very respectful. But as far as this film is concerned, I hardly had any. Because
We met him in the garden.
they killed me. It was a great. I enjoyed myself.
You didn't mind dying.
I didn't mind.
Okay, Sumit, what about you?
Lovely. I had a few scenes with
yeah.
him, and I'll tell you, the first time I met him, there was this extra from Hungary who was with us, and he was asking about, you know, who's Diljit. I told him a little bit about him. He's very famous, and he said, I told him, I'm sure you'll know when he comes, because I'm sure he'll have an entourage and this and that, and, you know, he's a huge star or whatever. And then 10 minutes later, I see him sitting under a tree alone. I'm like, oh shit, I clearly gave the wrong introduction for you. He said, oh, so there he is, you know. And then I went and I met him, and he's such a humble man, very, very sweet, very grounded, didn't have any air about, you know, the amount of success he's had. That's what you expect, and it's very pleasing to see that it's true.
He's a true rock star.
Yeah.
Loved you with the singing bowl though, that too I can say. Ye to koi nahi bolega. Not expected, but it was nice.
Tried.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, any observations
For me, I
yourself?
thought he was the most gentlest, sweetest, calmest, mildest person. Almost like a Buddha. Almost like a monk. And I never seen someone so calm. And that was a great feeling to be around him. Yeah. A lot of calmness to him.
Okay. You had the most amount of
I
scenes
did
with
actually.
Diljit,
I was thinking about it, and I was in pretty much every scene I had was with
Diljit,
him.
Yeah.
But everything that everyone's just said and more, he was just so down to earth, polite, you know, kind. And what I really liked is that he was just so non-interfering on set, you know, with he came in to do his job, his work, his lines, you know, his scenes, but never once did he dictate terms or, you know, say this should be this way and that should be that way. Just non-interfering. And I really respect that.
You mean
Because
we are interfering?
I'm not saying.
You're walking into that. I think next time for promotion, I don't think I should turn up.
Why?
People say nice things about me also.
No, but you know what I observed? That Diljit spoke English. For me, I was like, he's actually speaking so good English. Like, you don't expect him. He said, "Mereko English aati nahi," but then he's killing it with his lines. So it was great. But Boman, I was saving the best for the last, you know.
Right. Me?
Yeah, like I have so many things to ask you as well. But I want to start off by asking you this, sir. After being in the industry for so many years, still being relevant, still being here, pulling it off there, have your, let's say, negotiables, non-negotiables, what you say, why you say yes to a particular project changed, or is it still the same from the time you started?
It's still the same.
And what was it like back then?
I just feel one has to find out who else is in the film, who you're going to be spending time with. I don't like I like to be included in a group. I like to go out with everybody. We did a few trips together. I think it's nice to sit around in between shots in a circle. To me, these things are important. But eventually, it also depends on the script, of course, the story, of course, and the director. He could be a first-time director, but how hungry is he? How hungry is he? How sincere and passionate is he about the project, about telling a story that means so much to him? I see that in somebody's eyes, and I'm on. You'll make some mistakes in the bargain, but you'll always have a life learning experience.
True.
But if you go on a set where you feel, I didn't like the guy, I didn't like his attitude, I love the role, I'll make the roles I love. Don't worry about it. You know, but I love the role, but this guy is a
jerk.
Yeah. I don't want to spend time with you. There's nothing I can learn from you. We'll make other movies that we can have good roles with good people. I want to spend time with good people.
Right. So if I were to ask, it's थोड़ा difficult maybe.
मेरा difficulty पूछ रहे हो यार मुझसे.
अच्छा नहीं but अगर let's say you were to introduce somebody to your work and what you've done from everything that you've done so far, what's that one project of yours that you'd pick?
Okay. Unfortunately, it'll sound that I'm plugging a movie which was just released. But it doesn't matter now because the movie's released and it's... But it would be the Mehta Boys. Because it is all that I stand for. As far as stories are concerned, as far as cinema is concerned, as far as the performances are concerned, as far as my contribution to Indian cinema is concerned, it would be the Mehta Boys. I wouldn't have plugged it had these movies being released side by side. But I don't need to plug it.
Yeah.
The movie's out, everybody's appreciated, we've got what we wanted. I just felt if that's what you want to identify me as, it would be the Mehta Boys.
Right,
What a film.
amazing.
What a film.
And if I throw the same question to all of y'all, what particular role, project y'all would pick for yourselves to introduce somebody ki this is me? कि किसी कोई जानता नहीं आपको तो क्या?
Whom are you asking?
I
All
think
of
to a
us?
certain,
yeah.
Come on,
to a certain
everybody.
extent, everything that you've done so far kind of contributes to
Sure.
Yeah.
who you are and what you've achieved in the industry and in your career. They all play a little part, I feel.
Sure.
But there's always that one best performance जो आपको कहीं ना कहीं अंदर ही अंदर पता है कि अगर मुझे किसी को दिखाना है, जैसे अगर मुझसे पूछो मैं अपना एक इंटरव्यू जानती हूँ कि मैं कौन सा दिखाऊंगी. To just introduce somebody to my
But
body
with
of
actors,
work.
sometimes what happens is that I'm sure we all have, but there are projects where you have given your best.
Right.
Like you really had that fulfilling experience.
Right.
But that project hasn't turned out to be a hit, so to say. Not a success or failure, but not turned out to be such a big deal. Like most people don't know about it or whatever. And then there are projects where you've done a good amount of hard work and you've done your best, but it's really like blown out and it's given you a lot of fame and attention and this and that. So in hindsight, both of them matter to you.
Yeah.
You know, that fulfilling experience in a project matters to you, and as well as the job you've done and then people have actually seen it and appreciated it and it's materialized into something successful.
Yeah, I
That
completely
is
agree.
also part of the experience.
Yeah.
But
So these are two बहुत अलग चीजें हैं.
Okay.
Which makes it hard to pick, actually.
That's why I
makes it
said it's a hard
Yeah.
question.
But
I
want
don't
to
like
know.
to pick actually.
But if I had to ask, for me, I feel for an actor, his most special work is always his first film, at least for me. I feel that for my daughter also, if they ask me my daughter's best film, I always say her first film. Even though she's grown after that, I as an actor have grown after my first film, but that first film always remains in your heart.
Yeah.
The first time you see yourself on screen, I don't know, it just, for me, that is...
But what she's saying is, how would you, if somebody had to be introduced to you
Yeah.
and say, what would you,
I
the
would
first
say-
film?
I would just
Superb
go
answer.
back to-
Wow. Yeah.
Because
Super.
that's how
Amazing.
I got recognized, and
Yeah.
that kind of showed people what it was.
Yeah, great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Chunky
me,
sir,
it's
Aakhri
always-
Pasta has just stayed with you.
Now I'm Aakhri
Now you're Aakhri Pasta only. And of course, Houseful 5's coming as well, so that's
Yes.
great. But I don't know if you can talk about it too much, but for now,
By
we of
this
course
time
have...
it would have already released.
Yeah, I hope so. So coming back, before I wrap this interview up, I want to ask everybody yet again a common question, which is, and whoever wants to take it first can go first, okay? कुछ डिटेक्टिव वाली बातें ही करेंगे एंड कुछ शेरदिल वाली बातें करेंगे. आई फील लाइक वी आर ऑल एक्सट्रीमली कैसे बोलें ब्रेव लोग. हमारे अंदर एक शेरदिल होता है. अगर मैं आप लोगों से पूछूं आपकी लाइफ में ऐसा कौन है जो एक सबसे बड़ा शेरदिल है, somebody who's been a real achiever for you all, who would that be? And why also, I want to know. Pick an actor, pick a family member, it's okay.
I love the silence.
Yeah.
Everybody's
I know a lot of
thinking.
Sherdils, but it has to be by family or outside.
Anyone. Somebody who you've looked up probably and been like, हाँ
Now
यार.
that you mention family, if you mention someone outside, there will be a problem in the
तो
family.
बोलो ना family बोल दो.
फैमिली बोलो.
You can say family also.
फैमिली बोल दो चुपचाप.
कौन है? कौन family में?
मेरी बीवी. और कोई?
ठीक है.
हो गया अरे बाबा.
So,
Nice
like,
catch.
ठीक है, good answer.
Sherdil.
कोई नहीं. Nobody all felt. Okay, fine. I'll change the question. अगर आप लोग इतना
Change the
सोच रहे हो,
question.
I'll change the question.
Yeah.
You have an answer?
Question.
I've seen Shah Rukh literally the first week when he arrived in Mumbai, and I've seen where he's reached now. I think the whole world has seen his journey, and as a person, too, he's not changed at all. The achievements, but he's got a great heart, and he's someone I'm very proud that I've known since the day he really came to Bombay. So yeah, I would call him a
Lovely.
Sherdil, I know.
Yeah.
True,
Great.
I've seen
See?
his.
It was so easy. आप लोग सब इतना difficult बना रहे हो. चंकी सर, thank you. Maman sir, thank you.
मैंने जवाब दिया ना.
हाँ, आपने तो बोल दी थी, मैंने कहा thank you. You said my wife only. Okay, चलो, so I'll change the question for Banita, Sumit and you. Okay, Diana, you all have to answer this.
Okay.
for me now.
I'll
Different
hear
questions.
the new question.
And then
you
we'll
which one to answer.
KBC करेंगे.
This is overthinking
One
now.
thing, you're not a Sherdil. That much I can say. You're so petrified of these questions.
means what?
You have to take some names.
अच्छा ठीक है, चलो कोई बात नहीं. So my question for all three of you all is, and now you all can pick ये आंसर करना है कि वो वाला आंसर करना है. Is अगर रियल लाइफ में आप लोग कोई केस जेन्युइनली सॉल्व कर सकते तो वो कौन सा पिक करते?
That's
I
I'll
agree.
answer the first one.
First
My
one.
mother.
अरे lovely.
यार सब चेंज हो रहा है यहाँ पे.
Now go on.
नहीं नहीं अभी वो
I
फर्स्ट
just thought
वाला
it was
लाल
too
एंड
obvious
वाइट
an
हो गया. अभी
answer.
दे दिया इन्होंने आंसर. Now you give me the second one only.
I want to solve the mystery of how do they construct roads in Mumbai.
I was going to say.
Shaking hands from
I just
far.
want
Even
to-
I want to solve this.
I mean, I've been trying to detect, I've done scientific research on it, political research on it. I still haven't been able to crack.
And I also want to add to this. I want to find out why do they crack the roads only when it starts raining or before it. सब खोद दिया. Yeah, great. Okay.
I want to know. I want to solve the mystery of how to. It's in relation to this only, but how to get to this side of town in time
Yeah.
when it's raining.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Manina.
I'm taking us out of India, and I would love to know how they made the pyramids.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. You've gone to Egypt now. Love it.
Forget the roads. I'm going big, you guys.
I'm going to Egypt right now. But thank you so much. That's
Believe
my
me, it
time.
was easier to build the pyramid.
Then the roads.
And even our metro, for that matter of fact. Nothing's happening. But for now, we've obviously got Detective Sherdill for everybody to watch. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
and
you.
it was lovely
Thank
chatting
you.
with all of you all and meeting all of you all. Thank you.
Thank you.